Okay, so today we're doing another video going over the mutations from certain enemies and characters throughout the Resident Evil franchise, and as promised, the second video is going to be about the Dimitrescu daughters. Daughters in quotations, we'll get to that later. But yeah, these are interesting. Again, people kind of classify them as vampires, and in a sense, I suppose they are, but at the same time, they're definitely not vampires. Very interesting, this one. So there's a lot of notes to go over from the game, so we'll get into that first, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so let's start with the note on the left. So I'll read it out for you. Further observations. 1 day since treatment. The three girls have stopped moving. They seem almost dead. An insect flew out of the owlet's mouth. It appears to be just a common fly. So it's already kind of a foreshadowing right there. Second one. 4 days since treatment. All three bodies have almost completely been consumed by the insects. All that's left is a dark, writhing, human-shaped mass of creatures. It is just afternoon and the insects have started to change colour. Those around the face have turned pale, and those around the lips have turned a deep crimson. And then 6 days after treatment, the mass of insects were transformed into human bodies again. All three girls awoke, looking at me like newborns. I sense a bond between us, like mother and daughters. I've already decided their names: Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra, which is obviously the daughters' names. So the three girls that were dead are now not dead, and are not actually her daughters. I know some people did think that, but they're actually not at all. But yeah. And then insect observation journals. Similar body structure to blowflies, although there are differences in the head. They are carnivorous and vigorously consume meat. In order to catch unsuspecting prey, they'll gather using pheromones to mimic a human. They are produced when a cadeau lays eggs in the host, but the flies themselves were unable to reproduce. And then finally about the bugs. They are weak to sudden drops in temperature, especially if the temperature drops below 10 degrees, 50 Fahrenheit. Their metabolism lowers and they go into a dormant cryptobiotic state. Alright, that's a lot of information, so let's talk about it. So, the three daughters everyone simps for, including myself, are actually just a mass of flies. They are not actually humans. They are not vampires either, and we'll get to that in a minute. They are just bodies that have been consumed by these flies, and now the flies have kind of like matched how these girls used to look and mimicked them to kind of, again, lure prey in to make them look like humans when they are definitely not human at all. The vampire aspect, as far as sucking blood goes, it's not actually for the human. Again, vampires are still human, but in fact, it's the flies. They need to consume meat and blood to survive, or they die because of hunger. So there you go. That's the whole reason behind that. Now, the other thing that people thought way back when the game first came out about vampires was them being affected by the sunlight, and why all the windows were kind of closed and curtains were up throughout the entire castle. And as the notes say, you know, this is not because of sunlight or any kind of indirect contact with the sun. It is the temperature. You're in Europe, it's very cold outside. The cold gets in, those flies start dropping, and you can honestly tell from this cutscene, you know, the flies do kind of start swarming off of her body, and then some of them do fall and die. Makes the body weaker, makes the flies more easy to deal with, and eventually with the host fully dies, because they're not completely dead, but they are pretty much dead. The flies just keep them alive. But when the host dies, so do the flies. So yeah, absolutely nothing to do with sunlight or daylight. It's just purely based on the temperature. And what a bad spot they picked to live, you know, in Europe where it's always cold. So not the best move from those flies, really, is it? Again, more proof of this is from a maid's diary note from the game. I'll read it out for you. It says, "I don't know what to do. The young ladies were complaining it was too hot and stuffy during dinner, so I opened the window just a crack. Shut it now." They all shrieked at me in unison. And yeah, obviously all the flies are kind of aware that, oh shit, the window's open, we're all about to get fucked. So they all scream literally at the same time to shut the window. So it is, yeah, it's very obvious that it's the wind or the temperature, not exactly the sunlight. But yeah, overall, I think they're very interesting, you know. Again, I said it in the last video briefly, but it's very kind of sad how they're barely in the game, because I think it would have been really cool to explore it more and kind of like see more of what happened to them and what they do and stuff like that, but they're just not present enough for it to be a thing. And it sucks, because again, the castle section was pretty much the kind of best part of the game, and honestly, it's kind of just once it's done, you can't go back, and that's it. But yeah, overall, to kind of sum up again with the daughters, again, there's not much information compared to the Lycans because they're only in the game for so little time, but not vampires, completely made out of bugs that are very much carnivores and will live off of meat and blood, and also have a bit of a freak out when they get too cold. So yeah, in a way, you can kind of say they're kind of like vampires, but again, knowing what they are, they're definitely not. But yeah, that's pretty much going to cover it, really. If there's anything I've missed, do let me know. I'm sure that's everything. Again, there's not really as much to go off of. But yeah, that is the daughters and what's going on with them. As always, guys, leave a suggestion of what monsters you want to see down in the comments. And if you are new around here, be sure to subscribe for more Resident Evil content. I try and post as frequently as possible. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time.